look at creating eyeballs, and we're doing it in Illustrator. I'm just going to use the Workspace Essentials Classic. I'm going to reset that. We're going to need our Layers panel, so we'll detach that. We're going to also need our Color panel, so we'll detach that. And collapse the rest. And I'm also going to need the Gradient panel, so we'll detach that and collapse the rest. So I've got my workspace set up for me. Eyeballs are pretty simple. We'll start with an ellipse. I'll draw from center, holding the Option key down, and I'll hold the Shift key down to generate what's going to be the iris of the eye. I'll create it large to begin with, and then I can scale everything down. So there we have it. We're going to apply a gradient to it, and I'm going to remove the stroke. So click there and say no stroke. Now as far as the color is concerned, for the start color, you'll notice that right away the color is grayscale. I'm going to change it to CMYK because I want to make sure that my characters and all the parts will print correctly. And I'm going to give my character some strange purple looking eyes. There's the start color. Now, one thing you can do in the gradient panel here is you can copy existing colors just by holding the Option key down and dragging one of the color tabs. And I'm going to delete this color tab. So essentially we've got two of the same color. I'm just going to change that so it's a lighter color. And I'm going to change the type of gradient from being linear to being radial. I'm going to change the midpoint slider so there's a very rapid transition to dark on the outside, just like that. Now that I've done that, I'm going to create the specular aspect of the iris, the flecks that you would see in the eye, and I'm going to use a star tool for this. And I'm going to just hold the Option key down to do it from center, click, and it gives me a menu. I'm going to put 30 points in for my star. It's a little too small, so I'm going to hold the Command key down. That's going to allow me to scale up the bounding box, and I'm holding Shift key just to keep it constrained. And that's more or less what I want. Now it's filled with the last coloring of the circle in the background, so you can scarcely see them. And what I'm going to do is keep the same gradient, but I'm going to flip it. So I reverse the gradient. And again, I can use this here, this gradient tool, to determine the distribution of color in that. And I can mess with the midpoint slider so you can really see what's going on there. Excuse me. In addition to that, I can change its blend mode. So I can go from it being just an ordinary, go to my selection tool, so it's selected like that, and change it and experiment with different blend modes. This is multiply, color burn, lighten, screen, color dodge, overlay, and so on. I'm going to stick with multiply. I think that's given me the best. Go back to my gradient vector tool and just play with the distribution. So I've got something that I like. Maybe go with a slightly lighter color there. And there we go. Now in the center, I'm going to create the pupil, which is going to be a black circle. Choose the ellipse tool, hold the Option key down, draw from center, hold down the Shift key, and instead of it being filled with gradient, I just say fill it with a solid color. And make that solid color just a dark value. So we've got all the basic elements of the eye. Select all of these just by dragging a marquee, and use our alignment features here to align them vertically and horizontally. So there's your iris and your pupil. Now at this stage, it's lacking a gloss. And we're going to achieve that by creating a circle here. And I'm going to fill it just with a normal black and white gradient. So fill it with a gradient. And right now it's purple and pink. So I'll select it, make it very dark. And then make this one over here and make it very light. Change the distribution. We get light to dark. Now we can flip that. It's going the other way. I can rotate this by going near the corner, just kind of rotating it like that. Move this up. And now I can change it so that we it's green. You can see it there. And that's what gives us gloss. I'm also going to take it down to about 65%, something like that. It's very subtle, and you can see it just like that. That's the iris and pupil. We now need to create the rest of the eye. Before I do that, I'm going to scale that down. So grab everything. Before you scale, you should always double-click the scale tool to make sure that scale strokes and effects are switched on. And that just ensures that everything scales in proportion. So there's the eye. And I want to draw the eyeball. I'll start from the center with the ellipse tool. And there we have it. It's kind of oblong. I'm just going to fill it with white and maybe a black stroke. Choose black and white. And again, I'm going to have to use my layers to push that to the bottom. And then what I can do is use this tool up here in the pen tool suite. It's called the anchor point tool. I can click that and click that. It gives us a more football shape. Now, I can take this same tool and just drag here and give a little bit of curvature. And likewise, give a little curvature there. Now you'll notice it's more almond shaped, which really is what an eyeball is actually shaped like. And there we have it.